Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Art Whisper 88. Today's inspiration piece is by Russian painter André Lanskoy. He was born in Moscow in 1902 and studied in Paris and worked there until his death in 1976. Now, he was a painter and printmaker, and he's associated with the School of Paris and this movement in art called Takism. It's an abstract painting movement that began during the 1940s. And as you can see from the inspiration piece, it breaks up reality into geometric forms and colors. And I was always attracted to this kind of expression. And so I'm going to use his unusual color combinations and create something of my own. Okay, I'm going to start my first layer with my white Posca marker. As usually I do a black first layer. This time I will do something different. And create these shapes. That's my first layer. Now, I'm not sure at this point if I will wait for this to dry. Posca marker is acrylic based, so it is not alcohol based like Sharpie. So it takes a little bit longer to dry, maybe about 5 to 10 minutes more. So I decided I'll wait and let this dry. I'm going to use my desk fan because I just realized that if I don't wait, if I apply some acrylic paint on this, it will smear, and I want to avoid that. So I'll be back in a few minutes. Okay, this is dry by now. And in the original inspiration piece, there are a lot of areas which are kind of like a lilac purplish color, like a lavender. And since it's a color I rarely use, I had to mix it up. This is my Soho acrylic, and this is dioxazine violet. It's a hue. And I mixed this with some white. The white I used is iridescent white, so maybe it will make a little difference. So let's see what comes up. Yep, it's a very beautiful pearlescent color. I'm going to add some water just to thin it down, just to make spreading it on the plate a little easier. Now you can use matte medium if you want to thin down the acrylic paint, but in this case I think water is okay. Okay, just make sure this is very well mixed, and I'll just create some areas here. To use my brayer to kind of even this out. Now another background color will be yellow ochre. So it is a very unusual combination of colors, which I rarely use. And that's what I like about taking inspiration from other artists, because every artist has their own signature color palette. And sometimes it's good to break away from your safe zone, that's what I call it, and use something that you normally would never use, just to expand your horizons. As usual, I will introduce some of my marks. Now this is my Blick acrylic, Blick watercolor paper. It's a very beautiful textured, heavy watercolor paper, which I think works very well with gel printing, because it can withstand the pulling and the strain of printing. Okay, I will leave this on for 5 minutes and we'll see the result. Okay, let's see what we have here. Very cool. I can tell that this is a very successful transfer. Check this out. All the white marker was transferred, and I'm happy about that. So on to the next layer. I will introduce some more colors, like some red, some burnt sienna, and then I think the final layer will be a layer of black, just like the inspiration piece. So I'll be right back. Okay, ready for my next layer. Now I'm going to make a little adjustment to the color scheme. Instead of using burnt sienna, I will use copper instead to give it a little shine, and some primary red. So we just take the protective foil off, and I will do some strategically placed copper areas. I will be using my very small brayer. Some touches of red. Ooh, this is kind of very watery. Again, I'm going to introduce some marks. Here's the first layer. Just didn't want that to smear. Okay, I'm not going to leave this on too long. Pretty wild. You go. This is the second layer. It's very highly textured. Okay, and it does create this very beautiful ghost print, which I'm going to make use of. Little violet. Little Mars black. And some yellow ochre. Okay, since this is a capture of a ghost print, I have to leave this on for at least 5 minutes as usual. And since this is a thicker paper, I'm confident that this will not tear. Okay, let's see what we have here. Very cool. It's a very complex image. It's pretty wild. I like that a lot. You know, in the process of doing these prints, sometimes when the first print is not so great, the payoff is the ghost print. And like I always say, the ghost print always wins somehow, because it creates a more complex, really unique image. So I will air dry these and then continue on to the next step. Okay, everybody, I'm back from a short break. Now, I would like to make a comment about this paint. It does have a longer open time. In other words, it stays wet longer. Now, in terms of jelly printing, that can be an advantage, but you can do what you have to do without being worried that your paint is going to dry on you. The disadvantage when the open time is very long is I have to be super careful when I remove the print. It can smear if you're not careful. So, and another observation is particularly this red. This is primary red. It's a little more watery than I expect for a paint that is claiming to be heavy body. It's awfully watery. So I was a little disappointed, and I think I overdid it. I'm being a little self-critical here because I didn't want to put too much of this red. So I hope by doing this, let me show you, I arranged some reusable stencils on my jelly plate, and I plan to lay over a layer of black. I hope that will counteract this too much red. So it happens, you know, you get disappointed sometimes when things don't turn out what you expect. But that's the nature of printmaking. So I'm just gonna keep going. So anyways, that's my little comment. And I will go ahead now and ink this. I'm going to use a combination of this turquoise, which I like a lot. And the rest will be Mars Black. So I'm combining brands. So this, in a way, is a split fountain where you do 2 or more colors in one pass. So hopefully this dark layer will tone down the excessive red as a countermeasure. Okay. I'm glad I saved all these plastic trays from the grocery. They do make an ideal container for my reusable stencils, and they are washable. Now the dried residue from the reusable stencil is coming off on the plate, but that's okay because it's not going to transfer because it's dry. And if it does, that's okay too. So I'm not worried. Okay, I think I got them all. Many viewers suggest that I count, but that's not going to happen because when you're doing this kind of work and you're filming at the same time, it's just too much. For me, at least. Okay. So here is the print with the second layer. Let's see what happens. I'm glad that I've come this far because earlier in the video I nearly dropped this paper, and that would have been a terrible waste. Okay, we'll leave this for about 5 minutes. It's been about 5 minutes. Let's see what we got. I think that did the trick. Totally different. Pretty happy with this. It's much better than before. Now I will think about what the next step will be. Now the ghost print is very interesting. I will try to retrieve it. I'm going to use a light color. Some unbleached titanium. Some red. And some yellow ochre. Now in this case, since I'm trying to capture the ghost, I'm trying to even out the layer of paint as much as possible. And I'm hoping that it will pick up what's underneath. Just putting a few marks here and there, just to make it a little more interesting. Okay, I will leave this maybe a little longer, about 6 to 7 minutes. I'll be right back. So this captures that mid-century modern aesthetic that I am aiming for. And I'm very pleased with this. I'm totally surprised by the result. So I will air dry this and recap with all three pieces. So don't go away. Okay, everybody, here we are at the last leg of this journey. I decided I want to add some tissue paper collage. And I have these odds and ends here. And this stripe pattern is a homage to the artist, because he does like this striped pattern. So I'm going to include that. Now this Blick watercolor paper takes collage very well because it's heavy. It doesn't buckle as much. So by adding these pieces of collage, I'm kind of toning down the red because I thought it was overpowering. So this adds a little bit of balance to the mix. There. That's it for the first piece. Okay, that's for piece number 2. And I think this doesn't need anything else. This is a standalone. First, let me show you a close-up. Now, I think the textures and colors are remarkable, if I may say so myself. Okay, that's it for the ghost print. This is my favorite. I guess you guessed that by now. Now here is the first piece, which I derived the inspiration from Mr. Andre's and I will put this to one side so you can see the inspiration piece next to it. There are some aspects of it that I adapted, but it's a reinterpretation of his piece done in 1947. Okay, and then here's the last one. Again, I adapted some of his mannerisms, like his stripe pattern, and I incorporated that into the design. I hope you liked this video. I really had a great time doing all of them, not without the near accidents, but thank you for watching and subscribing, and for those who can, please lend some support through my PayPal to help keep this channel going. Thank you once more, and I hope to see you next time.